I love charity. I love nonprofits. So NFTs empowering artists and charities to embrace the digital movement. And we all know that charities and nonprofits are kind of going into the NFT space because I feel like it's a very, very easy on-ramp. And in the last 6 months, communities have launched NFTs to raise support for causes like testicular cancer, human trafficking, the war in Ukraine, etc. Also, too, back when we're kind of talking about NFTs and trends and whatnot, back in early 2000s, and I know Zach will remember this. Do you remember the Live Strong bracelets that everybody wore, those yellow ones? And I'm dating myself here. Oh my gosh. But you remember those,
big
right?
Time. Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
I remember them. Will, do you remember them?
I do remember them. Everyone had like 6 on their arms.
It was like a trend, but we were still kind of giving back. But also, too, when you're when you want to buy an NFT project that is for charity, if they are a 501c3, you can potentially write that off. Make sure you check that with your tax specialist. But I guess I want to hand this over to Jen. What are your thoughts on NFTs for charities? Do you think that this is a good way that charities can kind of get more exposure on a global scale?
I do think that, yes. And I think that when it comes to charity and NFTs, there is now a way for people who are passionate about similar causes to really actually be engaged in a community. And I think that it's different and more engaging than it was before if we look at how these communities have come together previously, right? It's like maybe you get a direct mailer letter in the mail and then you have to meet physically with people, or maybe there's a Facebook group, but I feel like NFTs are offering these communities a little bit more. And I wanted to talk about, so I support a charity through NFTs. I'm part of I have a Women Rise NFT. And the reason why I decided to purchase that and be involved in the community is because I'm passionate about education for women. And when you look at the milestones on the map of this project, it's so different than milestones on other NFT project maps. It's like, if we get to 75% of the collection sold, we're going to donate to the Malala Foundation. If we hit this milestone, we're going to contribute to different organizations. And everyone in the community then gets to talk about that, make recommendations on how we want to spend the money further, and engage with people who probably we weren't going to engage with otherwise. And so I love it. I do think, though, that there is a barrier still for artists when it comes to the technology, when it comes to the amount of money for setting up a collection like this. And so I think that there could be more education and maybe more funding for projects like this so that people can really experience what I've just said. But Zach, what do you think?
All right, since we're doing like personal story hour, shout out to Wendy O. Back in my day, I used to work in public radio, right? NPR, and there we'd have the pledge drive, right? We'd go, we'd get our headphones on, get in front of a mic, and we'd say, hey, support your local public radio station, blah, 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 blah. And oh yeah, if you donate at a certain level, you can get this mug, or you can get this tote bag, or you can get this XYZ, right? And so for a certain subset of the population that is particularly crypto savvy at this point in time, and again, that may be a bigger slice of the pie further down the road, I think these things make perfect sense exactly for that reason, right? You don't really care about the mug, but it's cool to have the mug that shows that you support WHYY. Shout out to WHYY. It's cool to have the tote bag that says you support WXXI. Shout out to WXXI in Rochester, New York. But these things can be similar, right? NFTs are similar. They're similarly displayed that say, hey, I'm part of this community. I care about this community, and I want to be able to showcase it on my digital platform of choice. And so I think it makes a ton of sense for charities to be exploring this as a potential means of, just that little tiny incentive. You want to do it already, but that tiny incentive to get the check in the mail or the Ethereum cent in this instance, I think it's something a lot of charities should be considering. But I'll toss it to Will for his thoughts.
Yeah, well, actually, I have a question for Will on this. Question about you this. So we know that some charities can be a little bit shady, but do you think with smart contracts and NFTs that can kind of help streamline the process to where we know exactly where the money is going? Because if you set it up via smart contracts and you have that, if X amount is hit, 20% or 10%, 5% of those royalties or sales go directly to that charity, to that wallet address?
I think yes is the short answer. The long answer is it also depends on how humans are going to use these things, because I can move it to Tornado Cash and I can get it out that way, or I can just use the funds poorly in the first place. And I think yes, you can use smart contracts. A wallet is associated with this person or with this company or this firm or this charity. And that's a really transparent tool in the way that we haven't had before. But you still have to rely on the meat space, and humans are going to do what humans do. So it sort of depends. I think on just like a tech level, it is a better setup, though. Great point.